Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mrs. Inskeep, and I used to teach at the Elmwood Grade School. And you have another Mrs. Inskeep there, the kindergarten teacher. She is our daughter-in-law. I also worked at the library, so they asked me to read a story to you. So the story I've chosen is Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree. Here's a picture. And Mr. Willowby lives in a grand house. It's pretty fancy. So we're going to find out about his Christmas tree. The book is by Robert Barry, and you can check it out at the library if you like it. Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree by Robert Barry. Mr. Willowby's Christmas tree came by special delivery, full and fresh and glistening green, the biggest tree he'd ever seen. So here's a picture of the tree coming up to Mr. Willowby's grand house. He dashed downstairs to open the door. This was the moment he was waiting for. A magnificent tree, splendid, he cried. Please, sir, won't you carry it right inside? So the delivery man is carrying the tree inside Mr. Willowby's house. Hope you can see that. I think it might look best this year right in the parlor corner here. So they're going to put the tree in the corner of the parlor. But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willowby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a bow. Oh, good heavens, he gasped. Something must go. So there's the tree in the corner at the parlor, and look, it is way too tall. See how it's turned over at the top? It can't work like that. You can't put a star or an angel up there when it's way too big. So they've got to have a plan about that treetop. Let's see what they do. Baxter the butler was called on in haste to chop off the top, though it seemed quite a waste. That's great, Mr. Willowby cried with glee. Now we can start to trim my tree. When the trimming was well underway, the top was placed on a silver tray. Baxter said, I know just who'd be delighted with this Christmas tree. So he presented it to Miss Adelaide, Mr. Willowby's upstairs maid. So Mr. Willowby must have lots of money. He has a maid and a butler. So the butler cut the top off of the tree, and he's going to give it to the maid upstairs. It's just a little bitty tree. So she now has a tree from the top of Mr. Willowby's big tree. So he carries the little tree on a silver platter upstairs. Won't this tree be a pretty sight when I trimmed it later tonight? But the top, oh dear, I'm so afraid will have to be cut. And so with scissors, sharp and long, she snipped off the top while she hummed a song. The top was set out the very next day in back of the house to be thrown away. So Miss Adelaide puts the tree in her house, and guess what? It's too tall too. So she throws it away. The next day, it's outside in the garbage. We'll see what happens to it now. So she had to take some scissors and trimmed it off the little top. The little treetop caught the eye of Tim the gardener passing by. He certainly was not about to see that little tree thrown out. He hurried home straight away to see what Mrs. Tim would say. Fa la la, surprise, surprise! His wife could not believe her eyes. But our house, she said, is so snug and small. I do not believe we need it all. And before Tim had a chance to shout, she cut off the top and threw it out. So here's Tim the gardener taking home the tree to his wife. She gets the tree, and she thinks it's too tall, so she trims off the top and throws it out. So now we've got another part of the tree that nobody wants. So let's see what happens. She throws it right out the window. Barnaby Bear was padding by. It almost hit him in the eye. Now, who would throw a tree away so very close to Christmas Day? I'll take it home. That's what I'll do. Look, Mama Bear, I have a present for you. So Barnaby Bear is going by. Tim's wife, Gardener Tim's wife throws the top of the tree out. Barnaby Bear picks it up and he's going to take it home to his wife in their house. So she'll be surprised to see. Mama Bear will see what happiness she'll have with that tree. Isn't it a pretty tree? Yawned Barnaby quite drowsily. But Little Bear, standing off far, cried out, "That tree won't hold a star." Barnaby said, "Let's cut a hunk off the bottom here at the trunk." But Mama Bear just shook her head and sliced the tree top off instead. So Baby Bear, he says the tree is too tall, which it is. It's all bent over. So Mama Bear just slices off the top, just like everybody else is doing. Looks like there's been a lot of little people and animals that have enjoyed this tree that was way too tall for Mr. Willowby. "Jolly by golly," Barnaby said with a kick. "Mama, that surely is just the right trick. Let's trim it with bells and honey rings, some berries and tinsel and popcorn on string." Mama said, "Trim it just as you like. I've got to tidy up for the night. This top, we won't need it anymore. I'll just put it outside the door." So they're trimming the tree. Mama Bear has cut off the top. And she's going to toss it out. She's going to take it outside so somebody else can enjoy it. Now let's see what animal comes along. Oh, later on that frosty night, Frisky Fox came into sight. He spied the treetop, rubbed his chin, opened his sack, and stuffed the top in. So Frisky Fox picked up the top of the tree, and he's going to pop it right in his sack to take home, I guess. We'll see what happens with the tree at his house. He scampered home and jumped his gate. This Christmas present couldn't wait. "It's even better than mincemeat pie," said Mrs. Fox with a happy sigh. Then the foxes saw that their Christmas prize was just a wee bit oversized. "There, my dears, don't you worry. I'll fix this top now in a hurry." So he's taking the tree home to Mrs. Fox, and they put the tree up, and it's too big for their place too. So she cuts it off again. Boy, this tree is getting used by a lot of different characters in our story. Benjamin Rabbit found it then just outside the fox's den. "It seems," he thought most certainly, "Santa left that for my family." "Look," he cried, "see the tree I found?" With that, he called his family round. Then there was merrymaking, frolicking, rollicking, carrot shaking, celebration around the tree. All were as happy as rabbits can be. So the tree's been thrown out, and now the rabbits took it, and they are so happy. They're dancing around the tree. They are thrilled to have that little tree at their place. They've even got carrots in their hands. The tops of the carrots look like the tree. Benjamin Rabbit, with his own hands, sliced a carrot and made a stand. "Now, let's see how this will look in our little chimney nook." But right away the children cried, "Look, it's leaning off to the side." "It's too tall, that's all," said Mrs. Rabbit. As though it were a summer carrot, she gave it a chop and threw it away. Oh my goodness. So Mr. Rabbit sliced a carrot and stuck the tree stump in the carrot, and that was the stand for the tree. But then it was too tall, so Mrs. Rabbit chopped it off just like she was chopping carrots. And there's another little part of the tree that's been thrown out in the snow. Then Mistletoe Mouse just happened to see that tiny tip of a Christmas tree. He pulled it through the snow and ice, up some stairs. He fell down twice. At last he reached his cozy house. "It's just the right size," said Mrs. Mouse. Then at the top, if you please, they put a star made out of cheese. Okay, so Mr. Mouse found the little tree, and he takes it home to his family, and they put a star right on the top that they made out of cheese. And it was just the right size. It was just perfect for their house. Oh, wasn't it grand to have a tree exactly like Mr. Willowby? So everybody was happy. Mr. Willowby was happy. The gardener was happy. The maid was happy. All the animals were happy because they shared. Isn't that a nice story for Christmas time? And the pictures in it are so colorful and pretty. I think you'd really enjoy reading this book. So come to our library and you can check it out, okay? Thank you, boys and girls. Have a nice Christmas.